The winter air that drifted across Mapo district on the afternoon of January 12, 2026, carried a biting sharpness. The kind that makes the city feel both brutally cold and unmistakably alive. Outside the Aria Seoul Media Center, a venue typically reserved for modest industry panels and mid-scale promotional events, an unexpectedly large crowd formed. Cameras swung from shoulders. Press badges clicked against heavy coats. And reporters murmured among themselves as if anticipating breaking news, though none could have predicted the storm that would erupt within the hour. The event had been scheduled as a simple live-stream press session for the promotional rollout of a new melodrama series, with Jung So-min and Jung Hae-in attending as lead actors. Yet the atmosphere felt strangely heightened, as if the universe had chosen this otherwise ordinary day to twist the script. Inside Hall B, warm yellow lighting cast a soft glow across pale wooden floors. Rows of chairs filled quickly, the hum of conversations rippling across the space. The hall was intimate, seating no more than 80 attendees, but every corner bristled with tension disguised under professional calm. On the elevated panel platform, a long table draped in ivory cloth awaited the arrival of the stars. Staff members adjusted microphones. Technicians tested sound levels. And a giant LED screen displayed the promotional poster of the series, smiling faces, serene colors. The promise of a hopeful romantic story. No one imagined that within minutes, that same screen would become the battlefield for one of the fastest spreading rumors of the year. When Jung So-min entered the hall precisely at 3 p.m., a gentle wave of applause rose. She looked elegant yet understated, dressed in a soft cream blouse tucked into charcoal trousers, her hair tied loosely behind her shoulders. Her beauty had always been described as warm rather than dramatic, the kind that feels approachable even under harsh lighting. Today, however, there was something different about her, an almost fragile glow that made her appear softer than usual. Reporters scribbled quietly. Fans watching the live stream typed hearts and greetings. It all felt perfectly normal. Seconds later, Jung Hae-in walked in behind her. Clean-cut, polite, with a trademark sincerity that had earned him a loyal global following. He took his seat beside her and offered a small nod of acknowledgement to the audience. For a moment, everything fell into place like a routine press gathering. The moderator introduced the project. The cast exchanged remarks, and the tone remained light and professional. But as the session eased into unscripted conversation, the first tremor of chaos began to form. Midway through the live stream, the moderator asked a simple, harmless question about how So-min felt preparing for the project after a long break. She smiled, paused thoughtfully, then spoke. I feel like I'm entering a new chapter of my life soon. Her voice carried warmth, a gentle reflection rather than an announcement. Yet to those watching closely, her next gesture became the spark that ignited everything. She let out a small breath, shifted her posture, and placed her hand lightly on her lower abdomen, not in a dramatic, intentional manner, but with the absent-mindedness of someone adjusting for comfort. Unfortunately, the camera director, in an effort to capture a more intimate frame, zoomed in at the exact moment her fingers brushed above her waist. That 2-second image, broadcast live to more than 150,000 viewers, became the origin of the rumor. The live stream chat exploded instantly. Is she pregnant? New chapter equals baby. Hand on stomach equals confirmation. The comments multiplied until they overtook the screen. Staff members exchanged panicked looks, but the broadcast continued. So-min, unaware at first, attempted to focus on the questions, her smile unwavering. But confusion began to cloud her expression as she glanced at the LED display showing real-time viewer comments flooding in like a digital typhoon. The energy shifted even more dramatically when a tabloid reporter seated near the back lifted his phone, took a photo of the close-up moment, and posted it under a sensational caption. Jung So-min hints at pregnancy during live event. In 3 minutes, the headline climbed social media rankings. Within 10, it reached the front page of multiple aggregator sites. The tabloid industry, hungry for clicks, put blood in the water and wasted no time embellishing the narrative. The effect inside the hall was immediate and electric. Eyes widened. Pens stopped. Few reporters glanced at each other with a mix of disbelief and curiosity, their professional instincts sharpening. Meanwhile, viewers watching the live stream bombarded the chat with theories, ranging from innocent speculation to outright claims that she was 3 months along. The atmosphere in Hall B thickened with tension. what should have been a controlled press event into a quietly unfolding crisis. All the while, Jung Hae-in sat beside her, unprepared, blindsided, and visibly affected. First noticed the sudden flood of comments. He frowned slightly and leaned closer to the monitor. A brief second. He looked genuinely perplexed. Then he lifted his head, his eyes shifting to So-min as if searching for confirmation or explanation. The cameras captured the moment perfectly, his brows tightening, lips parting slightly, and then a soft, nervous laugh escaping him as he attempted to mask his surprise. It was an honest reaction, unguarded, human, and precisely because of its authenticity, it became the moment that viral videos latched onto. In less than 15 minutes, a TikTok clip titled Jung Hae-in's shocked reaction to So-min's hint accumulated millions of views. Fan accounts began speculating that he had known beforehand, while others argued he was learning of the pregnancy in real time during the event. Even international viewers jumped into the discourse, reading facial expressions through their own cultural lenses. What the public could not see was the panic slowly forming behind So-min's composed smile, as she responded to another question from the moderator. Outside of a particularly aggressive comment on the LED screen, "Just admit it, you're pregnant." Widened. She blinked rapidly, visibly startled, and instinctively covered the microphone with one hand. She addressed the comment, her voice trembling slightly. No, this is not what you think. Please don't misunderstand." But it was too late. The rumor machine had already gained momentum, and no denial spoken in confusion could stop it. Shifted again, his posture signaling unease. He reached for his water bottle but did not drink, his eyes darting between his co-star and the audience. It etched itself into his expression. In a moment when most actors might remain passive for professionalism's sake, Hae-in's honesty betrayed a deeper empathy. His raw discomfort, seen by millions, became a second phenomenon on its own. The live stream continued mechanically, but the energy in the room had transformed entirely. Reporters whispered. Phones vibrated with alerts. A representative from the event's PR team hurried backstage, whispering frantically into a headset. Staff members exchanged worried glances. So-min tried to continue answering questions, but her voice wavered, her usual confidence overshadowed by fear that a harmless comment was about to threaten her career. By the time the event finally drew to a close, the damage had already begun spreading across the internet. Several tabloid outlets published variations of the same sensational headline. Is Jung Hae-in the first to know? Young So-min spotted touching her stomach, pregnancy rumor grows. New life chapter? Fans think they figured it out. The framing was reckless, invasive, intentionally misleading, and worst of all, line added to the pressure crushing So-min's composure. The live stream ended. She stood up abruptly, her hands trembling as she gathered her notes. A staff member rushed to her side, helping her down the steps. Cameras flashed rapidly. She shielded her face, visibly overwhelmed. Hae-in followed closely behind, tone firm yet gentle as he leaned toward her and whispered, "You okay? Should we correct this right now?" Ready to confront reporters himself, his jaw tight, his eyes fierce with concern, but the PR team ushered both actors toward the backstage corridor before anything else could be said. The door closed behind them, off the storm of flashing lights. But outside that door, chaos had already taken root. Netizens argued fiercely on forums. Some insisted her hand gesture was obvious, others claimed her denial sounded too quick. A few attempted to defend her. Voices were drowned out by the louder, more aggressive speculation. Several influencers joined the conversation, dissecting her body language with unearned confidence, feeding the wildfire of assumption. Within an hour, Jung So-min pregnant climbed to the #1 spot on Naver's trending list, an unwanted distinction that would haunt the rest of her evening. As reporters scrambled to contact her agency for clarification, it became disturbingly clear. A rumor born from a split-second gesture was now spiraling into a national scandal, and both Jung So-min and Jung Hae-in were caught in the center of a narrative neither had crafted nor consented to. The chaos that followed a live stream at Aria Seoul Media Center did not fade with nightfall. If anything, it grew sharper, louder, and more suffocating as the rumor circulated at dizzying speed. By the time Jung So-min arrived back at her agency's building in Gangnam, dozens of reporters were already waiting outside, aimed like searchlights. ready to capture any expression that might feed the growing narrative. Inside the conference room of Blossom Entertainment, the atmosphere was thick with panic. Staff members rushed between desks. Phones rang without pause. The agency's communications team huddled over laptops, drafting emergency statements. The misunderstanding born from a careless tabloid headline had transformed into a wildfire that threatened to swallow the actress's reputation overnight. So-min sat quietly between her manager and PR director, her eyes red from holding back exhaustion rather than tears. The shock from the event had not yet worn off. What disturbed her most was not the rumor itself, but the speed at which strangers felt entitled to decide the truth of her personal life. She replayed the moment in her head, the casual gesture, the misunderstood phrasing, comments flooding in like a tidal wave. It was a reminder that even a breath could be weaponized in an industry where every movement is watched, captured, and magnified. Sat in silence. The agency doors suddenly opened, and Jung Hae-in stepped inside, still wearing the outfit from the event. He bowed briefly to the staff before moving toward her. His face carried the unmistakable expression of someone who had spent hours defending her in his mind. He sat across from her and spoke with a quiet firmness. "This should have happened to you," he said. It was not dramatic, not a performance, just a sincere, grounded frustration that someone he respected had been pulled into unnecessary harm. For a moment, So-min managed a small smile, full for a presence that felt steady amid uncertainty. After, the agency issued a public statement. "Circulating are entirely untrue. The actress is not pregnant. Speculative reporting has caused emotional harm and we request responsible journalism moving forward." The tone was strong, sharper than typical denials, clearly crafted to shield her from the growing frenzy. Yet online reaction remained divided. Some apologized. Others accused her of hiding the truth. Few still insisted the denial itself was a tactic. Digital age. Even the truth requires justification. Hae-in, watching the comment storm on his phone, finally took matters into his own hands. He uploaded a short message to his personal Instagram, black text on a white background, simple yet firm. Misunderstandings spread faster than truth. Please treat So-min with warmth. She deserves respect, not rumors. The post exploded across social media, garnering millions of likes and thousands of supportive comments within hours. It changed the tone of the conversation. Suddenly, the narrative shifted, not toward pregnancy speculation, but toward sympathy for So-min and admiration for Hae-in's sincerity. His reaction, honest and unpolished, became the symbol of the entire scandal, a reminder that behind the curated world of celebrity lies human vulnerability. 48 hours later, So-min appeared briefly in front of Blossom Entertainment, wearing a long coat and a mask. She bowed deeply to the press, not because she had done something wrong, but because it is the burden every Korean actor carries when caught in a storm not of their making. "I'm okay," she said softly. "Just hope misunderstandings will stop." Her humility, tinged with fatigue, struck a chord with many. Sentiment shifted again, this time firmly in her favor. The tabloid reporter responsible for the initial rumor quietly deleted his post. Internet detectives traced the spread back to his article, criticizing the ethics of turning a woman's unconscious gesture into viral spectacle. Advocacy groups condemned the sensationalism, demanding stricter regulations against fabricated entertainment reporting. Meanwhile, Hae-in continued supporting her from behind the scenes. At their next public appearance 10 days later, a red carpet event for their drama premiere, he offered his arm as she stepped onto the stage. A gesture subtle yet deliberate. Captured it instantly. The image of them walking forward side by side, unified in front of the media that had inadvertently damaged them, came the closing chapter of the scandal. The rumor eventually died down, overshadowed by new controversies, new headlines, new distractions. For those who had watched the incident unfold, the lesson lingered, a 2-second moment, misinterpreted and amplified by hungry tabloids, had spiraled into an ordeal that questioned not only the fragility of an actress's image but the fragility of truth itself. In the end, what remains was not a story about pregnancy, or even a mistake. It was a reminder of how quickly reality can be distorted, and how vital honest empathy becomes in a world that so rarely pauses to ask what is real. And as young So-min and Jung Hae-in bowed side by side that night, facing a sea of flashing lights, it felt like a quiet declaration. They had emerged from the rumor stronger, steadier, more human than ever.